read the tea leaves, at least as of now, about 24 hours out?
So I think Nvidia encapsulates the real conundrum for every investor, which is Nvidia is such a large component of every index, and it's bigger than the market cap of, I think, every single country ex-Japan. So when are things indexed and correlated, and when are they not? And I think tomorrow what you're going to see when you look at short interest and you look at it technically, so look at it in terms of support and resistance, you're going to see that Nvidia has sold off, but short interest has come down quite a bit. It floats between 280 million shares and 260 million shares. It's more towards the support, and we think you're going to see a pop tomorrow.
Bob, where do you see most of the short interest coming from? Are these active funds, hedge funds? Is it people hedging as to kind of owning some of the other Mag 7? Do you have any color through that?
Yeah, so what's interesting is that the market has really changed since 5 years ago. 5 years ago, you had a lot of amazingly concentrated bets, and you had all these hedge funds blowing up. No one trades that way anymore. And Nvidia is the marketplace. And we know that by looking at the holders structure. 70% of the ownership of Nvidia is indexed. So if you look at the ownership structure, 70% is indexed. What's shorting against it? People are using Nvidia not to short Nvidia. It has nothing to do with Nvidia. It has everything to do with shorting the rest of the market cheaply and efficiently. So it's become a risk management play rather than a play on the company itself.
So a decent level of short interest, even though you think, Bob, we could see a pop tomorrow. I know you said It is the whole market based on ownership, but Jordan Klein over at Mizuho was saying this morning he thinks Nvidia may not even matter at this point because we've gotten all these data points through earnings where a lot of the software names, large cap and small cap, just haven't been trading that well. Look at how weak some of the kind of energy names are in the AI space, for instance. Do you think he has a point?
Yeah, I think he does. If you look at some of the ETFs, for example, you look at SPY, you look at IWM, you look at the Qs, every one of those is bearish. But it just so happens that in the short term, Nvidia will have a pop tomorrow. When we see short interest declining, covering's happening, and when it bounces off the resistance level of short interest and the market declines, that's generally a bullish short-term signal.
Bob, do you see any other sectors that are pretty short in the active world other than just technology today? Kind of as an investor, where are some of the, I guess, turbulence areas that people should be looking out for that are being shorted?
Well, I think you put your finger on it, which is you got a lot of themes out there. One is efficiency versus inflation. So we look at the ETFs around TLT and some of the shorter term bond ETFs, longer into the curve selling off, inflation, shorter end rallying, efficiency. So you have that battle out there. And then look at tariffs. China ADR is selling off, anything that is component manufacturing, selling off, and then also you have non-U.S. car makers selling off too. So there's a lot of, I think, uncertainty, and therefore short-term signaling is really king right now.
Sarat, any final comment?
No, I think, Bob, when you look at Nvidia and you said it's not as important, what do you think was one of the most important indications in this past earnings season that people should pay more attention to that haven't or more focus on?
I think, data is a very, very, very important way to interpret what's happening in the marketplace. It's the key determinant of particularly short interest for a market price action. So when you look at what's happening in terms of market beta, so everyone's running their portfolio trying to mimic the index and take less risk. And so that's when you see short interest bouncing off at resistance levels. That's probably bearish for the marketplace.